So BTC, after dropping down to 98k from our previous prediction, is now going to 104. All right, 104,000 dollars following our recent prediction. And this is the trade we're currently holding in our sub signal group. And yeah, I'm going to show you where we enter that trade in a minute. But before I do that, let me show you something. So on my Twitter handle, I made this post 12 hours ago telling you guys that BTC is going up to 104,000. Now, right here was June 21st, where I predicted the 98 USD BTC crash. And after crashing, then I did a video telling you guys that okay, we're going to see some reaction over here. Then 12 hours ago, I made this post that okay, we're going to 104,000. Now, few hours later, we saw this particular entry on BTC chart, and we took this particular trade. So our targets right here is, the first target is 104,000. As you can see, we're already up around 103,000. So this is basically where we enter that particular trade over here, all right? And we're targeting these two levels. Let's go to an empty chart, all right, and let's analyze BTC from a clean chart, all right, and see after BTC hits 104,000, what could be or where could be the next area or zone to wait for BTC, or where BTC could go after. Now, I already told you guys in our previous video. By the way, if you've not watched that video, check the link below this video, or just a video is going to pop up over here, then you go to that video. Now, I talked about um this particular channel over here, and I said that if we get a clear bounce over here, then it's going to validate the fact that okay, we're actually creating a channel on the daily and the 4 hour time frame. So what we are bound to see in the coming days is that we're going to see, like I told you in our previous video, that we had this move over here, this one, then this, then this. So next thing we're going to see is price to go all the way up to this moment. Now, what you also have to understand is that it is not always guaranteed that price is just going to shoot up straight into that level, but 50% of this channel, which is around 104, 105, that is where price we might see some reaction. All right, so whatever we are going to see here, we might see something like this, then reaction, then before we go straight to the other side of the trend line. Now, I already told you guys that in this particular consolidation, this kind of consolidation, right, you are either buying from the lower trend line over here, or you are selling from the lower or from the upper trend line over here. Now, if you are doing anything in between those two trend lines, you really need to understand price action, especially when it comes to BTC. So if you are using other strategy that is not price action, the best would be to be selling from this area and buying from this area. So we already bought from this area in our signal group. If you want to be part of that, just check the link below this video, send me a DM, and I'll get you added. So on the larger scale of things, we are actually bouncing nicely from the golden zone over here. Though there is something on the chart that might make BTC, after hitting 104, might come back down to 97 or 95k, but I've not seen that confirmation yet. But from what we are seeing on the chart right now, BTC is heading to 104,000, and we have a possibility of BTC going all the way to 108,000, because this trend line over here is actually the major target right now for BTC. So that is basically what we are looking at right now. All right, so nothing really much has changed from our previous analysis. So if you want to get the detailed info about the previous analysis, check the video below in the description or in the comment section of this video, then you get access to that particular analysis. Now, another thing I also want to show you guys, which I also mentioned in our previous video, is that we have a trend line somewhere around this area. All right, so we have something like this. We have this trend line over here, because we had this one touch, two touch, three touch, so making this an A plus trend line. So as you can see, I told you guys that whenever you see two trend line intersecting in the same place, and you must watch out for reaction in that area normally leads to massive breakdown or massive pump. All right, so as you can see, once price came down into and tapped that trend line, we started seeing some reaction. Now, I told you guys that how do you know how will you know if BTC was going to pump all the way up to this level? And I told you guys that if you go down to, let's say, the 1 hour time frame, all right, you are going to see something like either a change of character, breakout structure, or shifting market structure, that kind of thing, or maybe some kind of change in order flow, so order of delivery. So as you can see over here, we had this high over here, we had this low, then we have this, then we have this, then now we have this, and price is closing above this. So this is basically a classical shift in market structure. This is not a change of character yet, all right, but this is a shift in market structure, which is also a reversal pattern. So this particular downtrend over here, this formation bouncing from a trend line and also a psychological level, because remember 100k is a psychological level, and that is basically where the price bounced from this zone. So when you see price bouncing from psychological level and trend line giving you this kind of setup, that is a go for you. Though because of the way I've been able to master the price action of BTC, we actually took this trade from the 1 minute time frame. That is why if you look at that particular trade, all right, if you look at the trade, you see that we took that trade even before we got this particular 1 hour confirmation that I talked about in our previous video. So let's just see. So you can see that this is where we entered the trade somewhere around this, around 100 and around 105, 104. So as you can see, this is where we entered the trade. Now you only see the entry if you go down to the 1 minute time frame. This trade will enter on the 1 minute time frame. Now, why did I enter the 1 minute time frame? Because I already know that this zone is going to be a buy zone for BTC, so I don't really need higher time frame confirmation. All right, but for analysis sake, I mentioned a 1 hour confirmation. So guys, the next leg for BTC should be around 104 or 108, and that's what we're looking at. But remember, like I told you, there's something forming on the monthly time frame. Today is the 23rd, so we might see BTC hitting 105, then going back to 96.95, but that has not entered yet on the charts. I'm only looking at the higher time frame. So but what we are seeing right now is taking BTC to 104, 108. All right, take care guys, and do have a lovely trading week ahead.